Hello, my name's Susan Rushton and this is Olio. And before I go any further, I need to explain what Olio means. It's short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl or rotten pot, which I just get a great kick out of. It's a Spanish-Portuguese dish with essentially everything in the world in it. Pork in all its iterations. Pork, pig feet, pig ears, sausage, bacon, of course, as well as chicken, chickpeas, cabbage, carrots, beans, and of course onions and garlic. Everything in the world in it except walnuts and marshmallows. That's one definition. Another definition is that Olio it comes in between acts in a melodrama. You might have somebody's juggling, you might have somebody singing, you might have somebody reciting poetry, and none of it has anything to do with anything else, and none of it has anything to do with the melodrama. So in other words, it's apples, oranges, and a monkey wrench. So welcome to my monkey wrench. I love this monkey wrench. And one of the reasons I love it is the people I can get. My guest today is Ryan Murray. Thank you, Ryan, for coming again. He is the director/conductor of Auburn Symphony. The Auburn Symphony and if you aren't aware of it, please become aware of it. You can go to auburnsymphony.com and you'll be delighted. You can email at auburnsymphonyoffice@gmail.com. You can drop by at 985 Lincoln Way, Suite 102, or give them a call, 530-823-6683, and they're open. I will get to you soon. Open Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Okay, and we'll talk about that a little more. And Ryan, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, thank you.
Thank you. And how long have you been our conductor?
So this is the beginning of my third season.
Okay.
So I've had 2 full seasons so far.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And we've had a great time. And this is the second time I've
that's right.
interviewed you. Okay. I had lots of questions that I wrote to you and said this is what I'm going to ask, and then I put etc. And then last night I was looking at the symphony website, and I saw all these things that you guys are going to be doing over lots of here and lots here and lots here. It's amazing and wonderful and exciting. And it reminded me, I will just say this briefly, I run a silver screen classic movie series at the Auburn Library always on the first Saturday. And the hardest part has just finished. I've just finished it because I finally arranged to have 12 good movies. That's the hardest part, is choosing this round bowl of stuff. But there are so many more good movies. And how do you choose the music you guys do?
So you're absolutely right. That's one of the big challenges.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I was hoping so. I was hoping I wasn't the only one.
Because you have to find a way to balance a lot of different things. Music that the audience wants to hear, music that the audience doesn't know that they're going to fall in love with, new pieces that they may love, music that is exciting and engaging for the orchestra, and music that hasn't been performed in the last 5 or 6 years by the Auburn Symphony. So you look at all these different variables, and then you have to kind of try to find some way that these pieces fit together in programs that are interesting and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big challenge. I usually start, with maybe 40 or 50 pieces, and then kind of bring
only 40 or 50 pieces. Okay.
And then bring it in, and refine it, and then you get down to something that is pretty close to what you're going to do, and you end up moving a few more things around, at the last second. But
And you're the one who decides.
That's right.
Do you ask for?
So interesting. We do ask for the orchestra's opinion, and they fill out a survey, and I get kind of, a fairly simple question like, what are the 3 pieces you really want to play? In that order. And I certainly look at that, and I usually end up every year picking a couple of pieces that come from the orchestra's lists. And then I also will run it by our concertmaster, Chase. He's a big part of how we put concerts together. He's a big part of the staff and the and the musical, preparation of the ensemble. So I'm always keen to hear what he thinks as well. And then I'll ask, run it by our board and executive director, and just to see how they feel about things, and kind of goes together that way. But ultimately, it comes down to me, So it's if somebody's really unhappy, they know who to go for.
Well, gee, I wanted to do this, but maybe next year, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing I've seen is that there are in most of the productions you guys are doing, you have a lot of smaller pieces, and in most of those, and then but in a couple of others you have 2 or 3 long pieces. Yeah. Especially when you go down to on Mother's Day.
Down to Mondavi.
Yeah. You have 2 big ones. And that Mondavi thing is big, and it has singers, and then there's someplace else you're doing lots of singing. I can't think of it.
Well, we do have our sing-along Messiah in December, so
sure.
There's lots of singing in that for sure. The season is kind of balanced between different kinds of concerts. So you're right that for some of our concerts, especially our Masterworks series, especially Masterworks 2, 3, and 4, it is the more traditional symphony concert event where you have a large symphony on the second half, you maybe have a concerto on the first half, and some kind of overture or some variation of those things. But some of our other concerts, like Symphony and Art in the Park, which is really designed for people who maybe are not sure if classical music is for them, but it's a chance to come out and see what we're about. Most of the pieces on that concert are shorter than 5 minutes. And Masterworks 1 is kind of a hybrid concert between what you might call a classical concert and a classical pops concert. Because the theme this year is music from the movies, but not just movie music, as in music that was written specifically for movies, but also classical music that was used in movies. Yeah. And again, most of the pieces are in that 5 to 8 minute range. So it's a chance for people to come to the orchestra, maybe on grounds that they're a little more familiar with. It's an interesting program with a mix of pieces like Batman, Back to the Future, some John Williams, of course, but also Beethoven Symphony No. 7, the second movement, the beautiful second movement of that, Samuel Barber's Adagio for Strings, and the kind of showpiece of the concert, Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue with Konstantin Sukovetsky. Yeah. So it's a really, it's going to be a great concert. Yeah. But I think it's really, I feel that everybody in the world loves classical music. They maybe just don't know that they love classical music because it's in movies, it's in commercials, it's in cartoons, and sometimes we put this music up on a pedestal and people worry, I don't know when to clap, I don't know what to wear. Exactly. Yes. But it's not like that. And in fact, if you look historically, audiences up until about 1920 were really pretty rowdy when they went to the symphony, And so it should be a fun and open experience. And I think the first 2 concerts of the year are a good opportunity for people to experience that, especially if it's their first time to a classical concert. Yeah, yes. And the last question I have here that I don't think I gave to you is, you're hoping to attract all people, young and old. How? And that's how. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I think we want people to know that the Auburn Symphony is a a fun and open space. And our concerts, although the artistic quality is incredibly high, they do have a relaxed atmosphere, I hope. I speak to the audience quite often. I talk about the pieces. I do a pre-concert talk for several of the concerts. But I want to continue to kind of break down this wall that might exist from the stage to the audience, because I don't think that it should be there. And I want people to feel, you know, if you want to come in blue jeans, that's great. If you want to come in a suit and tie, that's great too. But, you know, it's, you know, the music really speaks for itself, and we shouldn't put up barriers to people, you know, accessing that music.
Yes. I'm remembering one time, I think it was last year, sitting behind a woman who was, and I knew she wanted to do it even more, and I was tickled, and I thought, oh shoot, I want to let her know that I think that's neat, and I told her at the very end, because I didn't want her to stop, and I knew she would have stopped, even if I had said, oh, that's so neat. But and sometimes I feel like laughing out loud listening to you guys.
Yeah.
Not because
hopefully for a good reason.
Oh yeah, not because I think this is crazy or silly or funny, but sometimes it's funny. But most of the time I'm just so thrilled at what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And watching, and it's just a kick.
Yeah.
Being there, and I love that people, you know, what I really love is afterwards. No. What I also love, the musicians stamp their feet for you.
Yeah.
I just love that. I just think it's just wonderful, and it's as if they're all wearing jeans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not like they're wearing hats and gloves and being serious, but they are being serious.
Yeah.
They're being terribly serious.
Yeah.
But they're also having a good time.
Absolutely. And in fact, you know, when we talk about Masterworks #1, which kind of falls around Halloween time, it's a little earlier this year than it has been in previous years, but the audience actually dresses in costume also if they want to, and so does the orchestra. So it really is fun. Yeah.
per what they're doing.
That's right. They tend to choreograph. So the horn section will be in one outfit, and the flutes will be in another.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
And the music is. The people who made the music are very serious about this. Serious! You've got to do it right. And they have to do it right. And you have to make them do it right. And you all agree. At the same time, they're having a kick.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you work to get to a really high artistic level,
have we reached that?
We continue to reach it. You know, I would say that there is never. This is the wonderful thing about music, and also the difficult thing, is that there's never a ceiling.
There's never a ceiling.
You're always looking for what's that next 1% we could find, you know, and so it keeps it really exciting because
Phil, this is like writing.
Yeah, that's right. But when you work really seriously and in a very focused way to get all the details just how you might want them, it frees you up to be free in the concert. And that freedom creates this sense of joy, I think, that goes out to our audience also.
Yes. And it sounds to me that you would rather, that the best thing in the world is playing for an audience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're all performers at heart, you know, so it's when the lights go on and you walk out on stage, I mean, it's such an exciting thing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there's nothing that can replace that feeling.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Whoa, my goodness. Okay, again, I'm talking to Ryan Murray, who is Auburn Symphony music director and conductor. And if you need to learn more about the Auburn Symphony, auburnsymphony.com. Please, if you aren't aware of them, if you haven't joined them, please consider it.
And I would just jump in and add there that we have a brand new website, and
Yes.
it's fantastic. and so again, that's auburnsymphony.com, and you can find out all about the Auburn Symphony, and also every concert is there with a poster, and you can read about the concert, and there's some of my notes about each concert, and so I'd really encourage people to check it out, because
it's gorgeous.
the team has done a fantastic job
I
on this
agree.
new website.
Okay, so then what's coming up? We are now in August, and coming up on September 14th is the School Park Preserve.
That's right, Symphony and Art in the Park,
Yeah.
September 14th, and it's a free concert, so it's a great opportunity if you're wondering, is this Auburn Symphony thing for me?
Yeah.
You come out and see, you know. It's a fun event. The youth orchestra plays before we play, and we've got this partnership with local artists, and so they have their work on display. It's an amazing evening, and it's not a very long concert. It's just about an hour of music from the Auburn Symphony. So it's a great chance.
Not long enough.
Yeah, it's a great chance
Hey.
to come in to see what we're about. You know, before our ticketed concerts start. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I've asked you, how long have you been the Auburn Symphony music conductor? This is your third year.
That's right.
Okay. But, so, why do you think music is important? Gosh.
well,
Tell me.
we've kind of touched on some of those
Yeah.
things already, but I think, you know, there are less opportunities in society today for people to come together as a community and experience something in real time as a community. You know, everybody is in their own little bubble on their computer or on their phone, exactly. And I have this, you know, I do the same
You
thing.
too.
You know, it's just, we all deal with that. But to come and be part of a community and hear amazing music and be away from your phone for an hour or
And
two
with people.
it's an amazing thing, you know. And music, all music, and I think especially classical music, has this power to get into our core human emotions, whether that's happiness or sadness or joy or sorrow, and to experience these emotions in kind of an amplified way, because that acoustic sound of the orchestra goes right to your core. You know?
Absolutely.
And then you experience that with a group of other people, and there's kind of a catharsis that can happen in these concerts. And so I think that's so important, and it almost can become meditative for some people, and like you say, you just want to laugh at times.
Yes.
You know, you cry at other
Yes.
times, and
Yes.
I just think more and more there are fewer of those opportunities, and so that's where I think the symphony orchestra is still relevant and still important today.
Oh yes. Oh my. Isn't that wonderful? And I just love that Auburn has this.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
It's just fabulous. And I don't, when I weep listening to you guys, I'm not weeping because I'm sad. I'm weeping because I'm astonished and amazed and thrilled and caught. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's just, and you know, I have found myself hearing stuff on the radio or on TV, different organizations playing this, and I expect I'm not surprised at what they do, because you know they're big and but they're not Auburn. And when you guys do the same thing and do it so neatly and beautifully, it catches me and it thrills me.
Yeah, it's a wonderful orchestra.
I'm
It's a
so
wonderful orchestra.
proud.
Yeah.
I'm so proud. Proud, you hear me? Proud. Tell me what the hardest part is about being a conductor? If there is something.
You know, one of the things that is a big challenge about being a conductor is that there are so many different parts to the job. And you have to be able to be in the right space for all of these different parts. So for example, like we talked about earlier, programming the season is very difficult.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of very careful thought that kind of goes on all year long. I'll be at a conference somewhere, I'll be at another orchestra's concert, and I like that piece, and I'll write it down, and then I have to look at all these things at the end of the year, and I have to see also, okay, this piece has 2 French horns, but these pieces have 4, and this piece has an English horn, but there's nothing else on the program that has English horns. So maybe that needs to go on another program, all these things, that you have to think about. Then when you're in front of the orchestra in rehearsal, you have to be very demanding and also, share the joy and the fun of it, and very extroverted. And when you're in front of the audience, you have to be very extroverted. But then I would say probably 80% of my time is sitting at my desk in silence, with the score in front of me, trying to understand the mind of these composers. And then you have to be very introverted, and you have to be comfortable sitting by
like
yourself.
Writing.
Yeah, right. I think score study and analysis is similar to what a writer does, or at least the way that you sit with yourself and your thoughts,
Yeah.
So you're constantly bouncing back and forth between these different elements.
Yeah.
And then you also have to think about money. And how much pieces cost, and how much, and finding soloists, and then you have to work with your boards and talk with them and share music with them. So there's all these elements that go into it, none of which you learn about in music school.
You learn about music.
That's right.
School.
So that's the real challenge, I think, is finding a way to be excited about every element of being a conductor, and making sure that you're just making all these pieces fit together in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you look at this music, I can imagine. I grew up in a musical household and left that house without knowing how to count. But I'm a great listener. When you look at this music on the page, if you haven't heard that music before, do you as a musician hear it?
It depends. If I am familiar with the composer and the composer's style, I can usually look at the page and get a fairly accurate resemblance
this
of
is
what
Beethoven,
it sounds like in my head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But if it's a modern composer where the harmonies might be very complicated, or a composer's style who I've never heard before, it can be helpful to listen to a recording. You have to be careful about listening to recordings, because you don't want to just recreate the interpretation of someone else. You want to go direct to the source.
Yeah.
And then there are pieces where I've heard so many times over my career that I don't need to listen to recordings anymore. I can really pretty confidently look at the score and hear exactly what it sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Your website states that at Berklee College, that's in the East, Berklee.
That's right.
You have studied with industry professionals to develop tools to success in the modern music industry, including new technology, policy, law, and finance. New technology, what do you mean?
Sure, so in 2018-19, I got a master's degree in music business from the Berklee College of Music in Boston, and we talked about a lot of different things, but it was slightly more pop music oriented, which I think was really great, because we got to see, how people like, well, we take for example Taylor Swift, how people like that are being immensely successful, by using social media, by using, web design, by using YouTube, by using TikTok, and all these things, and creating content.
Stuff that has nothing to do with music itself.
Not necessarily, yeah, and connecting with audiences that way. But we also learned about how to use music, video, and audio editing software, which I became very adept at during the pandemic because I did all the audio and video editing for a lot of my organizations. And I learned a lot about customer relation management software, how you keep track of someone when they join your email list, and how you interact with that person with different technologies like email blasts and websites and things like that. And also we talked a lot about how many clicks does it take for someone when they go to your website from looking at a concert to buying a ticket. And how seamless is that process? So that was
easy.
That was a big part of that degree. And then also, the really exciting details of music copyright law and music policy. But also we learned a lot about how you advocate for your organization at the government level, and how you advocate for music policy in this country that can benefit arts organizations everywhere. So it's a really fascinating degree program. Yeah.
So you've got fascinating stuff in your head. Wow.
Yeah, it was
lots of
very interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have talked about the fact that you are the conductor, director of the Auburn Symphony, but you're the conductor in charge of other things.
Sure.
What are they?
Okay, this is where I have to think a little bit.
Yeah.
So, in addition to artistic director and conductor for the Auburn Symphony, I'm also the artistic director and conductor for... Actually, Auburn Symphony, I'm music director and conductor. I'm the artistic director and conductor for Music in the Mountains up in Grass Valley. I'm the conductor of the Sacramento Youth Symphony Premier Orchestra. I am an assistant professor of music at CSU Sacramento, where I'm the director of orchestra and opera. I'm the music director for Opera Modesto, and I'm the principal pops conductor for the Modesto Symphony. And I think that...
And you're married.
And I'm married.
Do you have children?
We don't have children.
Okay.
We have pets, but no children. Yeah. And live in Sacramento, which is a good kind of hub for getting around to all these different places. And it's not like I started all 6 jobs at the same time, right? So things kind of fit in the calendar in a very interesting way, but it all fits together, and it's really a lot of fun. I'm working with, I kind of split my time with professional orchestras and community orchestras and youth orchestra and educational groups, and so it's really fulfilling to work in these different organizations, and they all require slightly different things, but it really keeps you on your toes.
Yes. And so, which of those have you done longest? I think, isn't it up in Grass Valley?
So I've been in Grass Valley and Opera Modesto. I think I started both of those jobs in 2008.
Okay.
So that's been a little while.
So we're lucky. We're really lucky. Wow.
Well, I feel lucky to be here. I'm having a great time with the orchestra and getting to know the community, and the audience here is really exciting and engaged, and it's a really fun audience to perform for. And I really like the performances that we do at Placer High School in the auditorium there. It has wonderful acoustics.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy performing there.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy.
If the stage was another 20 feet wider, I wouldn't mind. But
one little more thing. You play the
bassoon.
Bassoon. Do you have, how many bassoons do you have?
I actually don't. I have a bassoon that is on loan from the university that I'm using right now. I don't have my own instrument anymore. But I studied bassoon and voice in my undergrad. And I probably play bassoon, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay.
Not too often. I sing a lot. Not in concert or anything, but I sing constantly in rehearsals. Singing parts.
And they hear you.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Oh my. Ryan Murray, I'm so happy you came again. He is Auburn Symphony music director / conductor, auburnsymphony.com. Please investigate. Sir, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It was really great, and I look forward to seeing everyone at some great concerts this year.
Yes, me too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.